Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel for livingwithcharlotte.com. I'm Lillian, and on this channel we talk about Charlotte Mason's philosophy, curriculum reviews, living book reviews, and the resources you need to build a life-giving home education. If you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm a second-generation Korean-American mom, homeschooling my two boys out here in California, and I am an absolute fangirl of Charlotte Mason. My mission is to share out far and wide about her philosophy and to equip educators around the world in bringing her principles into the 21st century. So if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. For my first video, I wanted to share about my journey with Charlotte Mason, and I wrote a blog post about this too, so you can go check it out. It'll be linked below in my description box. Like so many of you, our journey started with COVID, right? Lockdown, we're all at home. We obviously had no other choice but to homeschool. But I mean, we all know that actually wasn't homeschooling. That was just like survive schooling, right? But that's how we started. You know, I thought of homeschooling before when my kids were really young. And a lot of that came from my experience working with students in youth ministry. And it was because one thing I noticed with these teens, I felt like the teens who felt the most grounded and who had like a very strong identity and were very confident in themselves, you know, they all had this one thing in common. They all had healthy relationships with their parents. And I was like, you know, I want that too. I want that for my own kids. But if I was looking at what was considered the norm for families, right? It's kind of this crazy cycle, right? Like we send them to school, they're there most of the day, and parents, we all go off to work and they go to aftercare while we're still in work, and everyone's just feeling exhausted, we're feeling drained. You know, we pick up the kids and it's time to feed them dinner and then go to bed, and we're just like all exhausted, right? And then we just had to start this whole thing over and over again. And then it feels like, you know, weekends are the only time that I have with my kids then. And then soon enough, it's going to be high school and then they're off to college. And I'm like, no, we just need more time together. And on top of that, I was starting to worry about like, oh my gosh, what are they going to be exposed to at school? And to be honest, I was motivated by a lot of fear when we first started to think about homeschooling. But, you know, I had a lot of doubts. I'm sure you guys can relate. I had a lot of doubts in my own self, my own abilities. You know, I was thinking, you know, and I hear a lot of moms say this too, you know, oh, I could never homeschool. I'm too impatient. Like, yes, I am so impatient, right? I'm too impatient. I can't imagine spending time with my kids all day long. Like, yeah, that too. You know, I'm not a type A mom. I don't know enough. Like, there's no way I can teach my kids everything, right? Or just straight out, like, I'm not that kind of mom. I just had so many doubts about why I could never homeschool. Like, I just can't do it. But Zoom school started. I don't know if you guys remember that and if any of you had to go through that. And, you know, I'm watching my 5-year-old do Zoom school and I'm like, oh, I think we could kind of do better. And so we prayed. I got buy-in from my husband and we're like, you know what? We're all at home. This is just a trial period. Let's just do it. You know, what else? What other option do we have? So our early days of homeschooling, I mean, it was a disaster. Like, it was so bad. But fun fact, I actually have a background in teaching. So I was thinking like, yeah, I got this. I can teach because I taught, you know, 30 high schoolers in a classroom and they gave me such attitude. Like, my gosh. But you know what? Like, I was able to handle that. Like, surely I could teach 2 little boys their ABCs. Like, you know, and I'm sure a lot of you guys who have a teaching background, like, you're laughing at me. I know you are because I'm laughing at myself like about that time. But anyways, so I thought, you know what? Psh, I got this. Okay, so I have to explain. my husband and I, we come from like, high pressure Korean immigrant background. Like, if you know, you know, okay? My husband, I don't know, something like he flipped some switch in his head and he started having like grand visions of what our homeschool could be. And he was like, you know what? Our kids, they're going to graduate from high school at 16 and then they're going to get into Harvard and MIT. And like, if some of you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, look what homeschool can do for you. Okay. And I was thinking, yes, I'm gonna do that. You're right, husband. And so I went to Costco. I don't know if you guys remember this whole time during COVID, right? Costco had those, 300-page workbooks. Like they had so many workbooks because we were all worried for our children's education. So I got all the workbooks and I was convinced that my 5-year-old will read chapter books by yesterday. And I bought the, Teach Your Child to Read and 100 Easy Lessons. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that book. And it's such a great book, but it just showed me that something was wrong with me because I tried to fit like 3 lessons into one day. Yeah, don't do that. Like, I know you guys are thinking, what is wrong with her? Yeah, there were a lot of tears. My kids are crying. I was crying. It was not good. Thankfully, someone told me to read For the Children's Sake by Susan Schaefer Macaulay. I know many of you guys have heard this book. What's so funny is last year I was at the Charlotte Mason Institute conference. And I was asking people, while I was meeting new people, I asked them, hey, how did you first start Charlotte Mason, like your homeschool journey with her philosophy? And I think like 9 out of 10 of us, we all mentioned For the Children's Sake as like the gateway drug. I mean, I should say gateway book because I shouldn't call it a drug, but gateway book, right? Like we all know this book. I mean, that book changed everything for me. I mean, it taught me about Charlotte Mason, but then it also taught me that my children's education, it could be something very beautiful and inspiring and like something that gives like life and beauty into your days. Because again, like I was very fear driven when I first started. And so I think I finally, switched over into this new mindset of how to approach our homeschool. So someone told me about AmblesideOnline. That's the first curriculum that I started off with. And the concept of living books was something that just resonated with me right away. So I started off with AmblesideOnline. The books were great, but I felt like I still needed some guidance. Like I wasn't too sure on how to implement her methods. And I felt like I just had to DIY so much of my lesson planning. And then I came across CMEC. Their mother's education training was very helpful, and it was exactly what I needed at that time. Now, it was around this time I had been reading Charlotte Mason's volumes, and I started off with volume 6, and then I was slowly making my way with volumes 1 to 3. And I don't know, I just felt like the more I read, I was feeling like something was off, like something was missing in our homeschool, and I didn't quite know what it was yet. I was following the curriculum pretty well. I was getting a better handle on her methods. And I couldn't help but feeling like, okay, what is wrong? Like, what is off? Because I don't think it's really the curriculum that's the problem. And I came back to Charlotte Mason's first principle, children are born persons. And in her principle number 13, where she talks about the science of relations, and that phrase, firstborn affinities, that just kind of captured my heart. And so I wanted to read for you a little bit of this passage in volume 3. This passage really resonated with me and got me thinking about maybe what could be off about how we were approaching our homeschool. So this is on page 218 of volume 3 under the subheading, Education is Objective, Not Subjective. So Charlotte says, we take the child as we find him, a person with many healthy affinities and embryonic attachments. Okay, I'm going to pause there because that phrase, embryonic attachments, it made me think of, okay, when they were in our womb, like when they were just little babies, that they have these attachments already. And I think that's exactly what she's saying, these embryonic attachments. And we try to give him a chance to make the largest possible number of these attachments valid. An infant comes into the world with 1,000 feelers, which he at once begins to fix with great energy. And out of everything about him, he gets, quote, that calm delight, which, if I err not, surely must belong to those firstborn affinities that fit our new existence to existing things. Okay, so guys, this, oh my gosh, that passage, it really gripped me because it made me realize, okay, in our homeschool, we're experiencing the feast. You know, we're studying the flora and fauna of England, and we're studying history, British or maybe even German history. But I realized, you know what? I am not encouraging relations with things that are right around us. These are the firstborn affinities, the embryonic attachments that my own children came into this world with. And for us, I realized, wait, that's like our Korean heritage or like our family background. These are the embryonic attachments that they were born with. And so I realized, oh man, by blindly adopting a curriculum wholesale, I was disproportionately encouraging relations that didn't start from those embryonic attachments. So we weren't studying this feast that started at home. We were exploring like our neighbor's feast. And that's what I realized what was missing from our homeschool. Now, in the middle of realizing all of this, I switched over to using the Alveary curriculum. And by the way, I'll be doing a deep dive curriculum review of the Alveary. So if you want to check that out, you can do it. I don't know where to point. Here. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't follow the Alveary or really any curriculum to a T, but I do appreciate how much it gave me permission to adapt curriculum to my little born persons. So what that means is, you know, we try to incorporate more of Korean folk tales and folk songs, Korean American history, and even just Asian history at large. So this has been just such a journey of transformation for me and for our children. You know, and I've just been learning more and more as I read and reread Charlotte Mason's volumes. So I'd love to hear from you now. How did you guys first meet Charlotte? You know, how has your understanding of her philosophy grown? So let me know in the comments below. And if you want to be notified when I drop new curriculum reviews or resource reviews, make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. I'll be so very thankful. Also, check out the links in my description below. I've added links to my website, livingwithcharlotte.com, and you can find more information on what Charlotte Mason curriculum is out there, so you can decide which one will work best for you and your born persons. And if you're interested in finding out all the latest discounts and sales that are happening, or even just new curriculum and products that are being released in the Charlotte Mason world, then you're gonna wanna sign up for my weekly emails where I gather all of these for you and I send you some of the best offers. So make sure you're on my email list for that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.